What's good with it, BlakGooseTV family? As always, double salute. When it comes to Fluence Boxing, hopefully everything is blessed and not stressed when it comes to your Wednesday. And if it just so happened to be stressed, hopefully watching this video turns it into being blessed. Salute to the people, man. Look, I got some boxing news for y'all. It has to do with Demetrius Andrade. It has to do with the WBO ordering his mandatory, and his mandatory happens to be one of the scariest guys in that 160 division in Janibek Alimkhanuly. Y'all forgive me if I butchered his name just a little bit, just so y'all know. I listened to I listened to the announcer say his name like 10 times before I started this video, so I want to butcher it too bad. You feel me? But either way it goes, this is a crazy announcement. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy mandatory when it comes to Boo Boo. But, you know what I'm saying, kind of when you look at his career, how it's panning out, it's about time that, you know what I'm saying, he's in a position where it's like, yo, look, at this point, you need to take dangerous fights if you want to try to cement a certain type of legacy in your career after you leave. You just haven't had those fights, right? And a Janibek Alimkhanuly fight would be perfect because this guy is an absolute beast. One of the hottest prospects coming up at the 160-pound division right now. Remember, guys, too, technically, Andrade was supposed to move up to fight Zach Parker. He was supposed to drop his belt, and he was supposed to fight him at 168 for the, I want to say it was the, I think it was the WBO. It was either WBO or WBC interim belt. So that was supposed to happen against Zach Parker. That was supposed to happen, I think, in July or something, this month or the month before. I'm pretty sure it was early July. But as we all know, Andrade suffered that, that torn shoulder. I don't know if he had to have surgery, but he definitely had to rehab that joint. So because of that, not only did the fight get postponed, but it got pushed back. Now, if you guys remember, you guys can go ahead and look back on my YouTube videos. I told you guys, I said Zach Parker versus Demetrius Andrade is not going to happen anymore. And the reason why I predicted it was because Canelo lost to Bivol. And the sole reason of Andrade moving up to 168 was trying to put him in position to get the Canelo fight. Once Canelo lost to Bivol, like I said, that sweepstakes of, Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, Boo Boo, like these guys trying to get this fight, it kind of just dissipated. It's like, now, okay, you guys got to fight each other, because at this point we don't know where Canelo's going to, what his trajectory is from here on, because obviously he's going to be fighting Triple G. Obviously next he wants to rematch with Bivol, and it seems like he's very interested in possibly a better bit fight, or another light heavyweight fight, whatever the case may be. His sights does not seem to be set up or focused on fighting some of these guys that a lot of the boxing community in a certain area of the community, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying in a certain area of the boxing community, feels like he's been ducking, and they feel like he's been ducking Benavidez, Jamal, Boo Boo. Those are some of the guys. But it doesn't seem like they're probably going to get that fight with everything going on with the Canelo loss happening. Now, with that being said, that was the main reason why I said, hey, we are not going to get Andrade versus Parker. It got postponed. It got pushed. I'm pretty sure Andrade is going to see the trajectory of this. His team should be able to note this, and they're probably going to say, hey, just go back down to 160. There's no reason for us to be chasing Canelo because at this point, it's probably not going to happen. Let's be 100% with it, right? Andrade, out of everyone who was in the Canelo sweepstakes, he's probably at the bottom of the totem pole simply because he has the least amount of notoriety. Not too many people know about him, even though he's with Eddie Hearn in the zone. Now, remember this too, guys. This is an interesting point. This is supposed to be his last fight with Eddie Hearn, right? The fight with Zach Parker was supposed to be his last fight, and then he was going to be a free agent, and most likely he was going to try and sign with one of the U.S. promotions so he can come a little bit closer to maybe like a Jamal fight or something like that. Unfortunately, now I'm not sure what the direction is going to head, especially with this mandatory being ordered at 160. I don't see a guy like Andrade ducking it. I think Andrade will take this fight. Janibek is a goddamn killer. Remember, too, he's also a southpaw. He has power in both hands. He's like a he's a Dagestanian, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, make sure you guys correct me on that. But he's a fucking beast. So this would be a very notable matchup that people are going to draw to. People are going to watch. It might be a little bit under the radar of some of the casual fans, but the hardcore boxing fans, this would be a great fight for Andrade, especially if he wins, because he would get a lot of respect from the hardcore fans. Because the thing about Andrade is he doesn't get respect from hardcore fans or casual fans, and that's the unfortunate thing when it comes to him, just because we think he's very skilled, but obviously he hasn't fought anyone, so a lot of people are like, well, he hasn't fought nobody, right? This is kind of similar of the sentiments that some people try to argue with Triple G at this point of his career. People are saying, yo, like his biggest fights, one of them, outcome against Canelo. The other one, maybe you would say, Danny Jacobs. Yeah, he beat Danny Jacobs, but it was the closest fight of his career. And we see how Danny Jacobs' career kind of ended up turning out towards the end of his run. Canelo, technically he's 0-1 against Canelo. And if he loses the next fight, he's 0-2-1. How does that look for him? It's like, yeah, he's been a champion for so long. He defended his belts, but who did he fight, right? And I don't agree with that sentiment. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think Andrade is going to be a Hall of Famer, but a lot of people feel the sentiment that if you don't have a notable name that we all universally can agree on and say that guy is a fucking beast, people tend to shit on boxers' career, whether it's right, whether it's not. That's just what happens. That's the consensus. That's what people talk about. That's how people move when it comes to judging a lot of these fighters. I don't do that, but that is the majority of the community. Now, with that being said, before we get into this article, and maybe we can get some details on what's going on with Andrade's injury, because I feel like ever since he had the injury and that fight got kicked out of the park when it came to Zach Parker, I have not heard anything from Boo Boo, right? There was a moment where I was hearing a lot from him. I was hearing a lot from Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was saying we're not going to move forward with him no more. We should part ways. Andrade's team agreed. And then all of a sudden, the injury happened. Canelo lost, and I haven't heard shit from Boo Boo. And I don't think that's a good sign. The reason why I don't think that's a good sign is because at least David Benavidez stayed active and he talked his shit, so he's still relevant. At least Jamal Charlo, he didn't fight nobody, but he honestly, the thing about Jamal Charlo, he kind of stays relevant because of his brother. Like, we're going to talk about Jamal because Jamel is active and he's doing his thing. And whenever Jamel has a fight coming up, for some reason, people want to interview Jamal. So even though Jamal has been even though Jamal and Demetrius Andrade are like in the same place right now, both of them got injuries. Both of them have been inactive this whole entire year. But we're talking about Jamal more because, one, he's with PBC, and then two, obviously, because his brother has been fighting this year, doing amazing things. And it's hard for a lot of people to talk about Jamel without talking about Jamal, because a lot of y'all niggas is casuals, and a lot of y'all niggas always thought that Jamal was going to be the guy who could do all these amazing things, and it looks like Jamel's really killing the game, and y'all still hate. Anyways, we're not going to make it about that. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this particular article. I honestly think what should be next in Andrade's trajectory, what should be next in Jamal's trajectory, they should be trying to fight each other. I don't think Jamal should be trying to chase David Benavidez at 168. I don't think Jamal Charlo should be trying to defend against his mandatories at 160. I don't think Demetrius Andrade should be trying to defend against his mandatories at 160, except against maybe Janibek Alimkhanuly, because that is a very notable name. But other than this, I think they should be gunning for each other, because at this point in their careers, Jamal, I think he's 32. Andrade is 33. They're only going to be a year older later in this year. I think it's time to just, I'm going to put it on the line. That's my personal opinion. Okay, let's get into this article because I've already been talking enough. By the way, before we get into it, hit the like button, please, for your boy. Subscribe to the channel. Hit me with them subscriptions. Let's get to 5K before the end of the year. Y'all already know what it is. And as always, comment. Let me hear what you got to say. Let's go. BoxingScene.com. Love you, Boxing Scene. On Wednesday, the WBO's World Championship Committee ordered negotiations to begin for a mandatory fight between full middleweight champion Demetrius Andrade and interim champion Janibek Alimkhanuly. The two sides were given 30 days to reach an agreement. If no agreement is reached, then the purse bid will be called with the $200,000 minimum bid. So this is basically saying this fight's going to happen, guys. This is going to happen. If Andrade is unable to compete for whatever reason, then Alimkhanuly will be automatically elevated to the status of full champion. Andrade, 31-0, 19 KOs, has been out of the ring since demolishing Jason Quigley in 2 rounds in November of 2021. He was due to move up to the super middleweight limit to face Zach Parker, but obviously he suffered that shoulder injury. Alimkhanuly saw action back, 12-0, 8 KOs, on May 21st when he captured WBO's interim title with the 2-round demolition of undefeated contender Danny Dignam. Andrade's promotional run with Eddie Hearn is no longer in play. The canceled bout with Parker was scheduled as last with Matchroom. To act on Andrade's behalf, the WBO issued their order to promoter Demetrius Andrade of Salita Promotions. Alimkhanuly is promoted by Top Rank, who have an exclusive content deal with these men. So that's interesting. So I thought, even though that last fight with Zach Parker was canceled, I thought he would still be, he would still have to complete at least one more fight to fulfill that last fight with Matchroom. But it seems like even though that fight was canceled, they counted that as his last fight on his Matchroom deal with Eddie Hearn, and it seems like he's a free man now. So I did not know this. So Andrade is technically, he's not with the promotional company. So what I see happening from this, let's speculate. Let's have a little bit of fun before I end this, right? Andrade is going to fight Janibek, okay? ESPN Top Rank obviously is going to win the bid because there's no real money behind Andrade to win that bid. Actually, they probably won't bid, and maybe they'll just hope that, they're probably not going to accept it and just let the bid happen, because they know ESPN and Top Rank will win it. That's actually good news for Andrade if you believe he can be a beast like Janibek, which I do think he'll beat him. I think Andrade is just too slick. He might get caught a couple times, but I just think Andrade is way too slick for him. But besides that being my particular opinion about it, this is good news for Andrade because this could be the first time Andrade can really be put out there in the spotlight for America fans, right? Because if Top Rank wins the promotion, that means it's going to be aired on ESPN Top Rank exclusively. If he goes in there on that stage, being a free agent, and he absolutely puts on a show against a beast in Janibek, nigga, knock, 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 you're going to have Top Rank knocking at your door. You're going to have Golden Boy Promotions knocking at your door. I don't know if you'll have PBC Promotions knocking at your door, but you're going to open up some like, hey, yo, we need to get this guy over here because the 160 division is still hot. He can move up to 168. That division is still hot. Let's try to make the most of him while I can. He's 33 going 34. We still have maybe about, I would say, 2 to 3 years left where we can capitalize maybe on some big fights. I can really see Top Rank doing that. I can see Top Rank saying, hey, Andrade, come on over here. Jamal's over there. Let's make a mega fight. I can see that happening, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating. Maybe I'm over the top. But how do you guys feel about this potential matchup happening? Who do you guys think is winning? Do you think I'm over, boosting Andrade Boo-Boo because it's one of my favorite fighters of all time as well? Do you think he's going to have a lot of trouble with the southpaw, hard-hitting, power in both hands, uppercuts out the motherfucking world with the left hook that absolutely matches with fire inside of it? That's absolutely on a whole nother level. And Janibek Alimkhanuly, I'm doing my best, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Bear with me. Remember, I listened to like 5-10 minutes of announcers saying his name just so I can try and not butcher this joint. But what do y'all feel about this particular fight? Look, the sooner it gets started or the sooner it gets announced, the more excited I am. I don't feel right. I haven't watched Demetrius Boo-Boo Andrade in the ring all year. I need to see him back in the ring regardless of who's against. I feel the same way about Jamal. I want to see Jamal against somebody, so I'm interested to see who Jamal ends up fighting next. So let me know below, always in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, show love, baby. Comment, notification gang, and on social nigga side of the game. I'll be back. But one more boxing. Much love, people. Stay blessed.